Hey, I'm live. So I'm just driving and can't really look at my computer much, but I got it all set up for live stream and here I am. Um, Coronavirus. There's a lot of people that say it isn't real and that it's a hoax or that it's perpetrated by the governments or something. And I just got to try to bring you back to reality, guys. There is no invisible power of men that will collaborate the whole world together to hoax that thousands of people are dying. It's not a hoax. So, with that being said, it gets me thinking about the end times and reality. And I'm going to use the thing I've been talking about for 3 or 4 years. I'm going to use that as a prime example of people in denial of reality. And I guess what I mean, hopefully this stream's working too. I'm doing it from a hotspot, and I'm driving, so we'll see. But I figured I would get on and just say this thing that's in my head. The end times. If you're a believer in the Bible, if you believe the book of Revelation, which is the testimony of Jesus Christ. So John wrote it down. An angel came to him, and Jesus came to him in the Isle of Patmos and gave him a vision of what must happen, what must come to pass. And so maybe they're Bible believers, but they don't understand that the things that are happening in this world right now they're already declared that they happened. Like we can almost look at it like it's a past event. Like I say, in the end, rockets ended up destroying the earth. And people are like, that's ridiculous. But guess what? In the end, rockets were the cause of the sky falling, of the darkness falling down to the earth. It was caused by the kings of the earth, which are horns that fly up to the host of heaven and cast the stars down. But that's I just want to use that to compare with things. But when people aren't believing what their Bible says, they're going to think that there's a big hoax perpetrated by men, and that coronavirus is just it's probably a bioweapon or something like that. You know what? Reality is reality. So whether it's a bioweapon or a virus, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's killing people. Lots of them. And it's doing it fast. So, like, really fast. And I think that I don't know. Hi, Cindy Heeman. Because there's a lot of people that say, we live in the end times. They believe that. But then they don't check out what happens in the end times. They say they believe it, but if you look at what a lot of people are saying, they don't believe it. They make up their own story about what happens in the end. Like people say, oh, there'll be an alien invasion. Well, that means you didn't read the book of Revelation. Because in the book of Revelation, John saw what was going to happen at the end. And it's happening right now, and people don't notice that it's happening. Like, you know when Jesus comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment. That's happening right now. There is judgment happening, and people are being presented with a quiet opportunity that if they reject the opportunity, they'll perish. But it's really quiet. And a lot of people, most of the people in the world are actually gathered against it. This opportunity, this truth that's in the world right now. So coronavirus is just one of these, okay, if we compare it with chicken pox or something like that, whatever, something that happens, some medical thing that happens to people in this world, whether it be a disease or whatever it is, the plagues or the wrath of God or the things that are written about happening in Revelation, they're going to manifest in realistic ways, like real ways. And I'm trying to think of like an example, and I guess coronavirus could be a good example. I don't know, but like the whole Freemason thing and the Jesuits and the Illuminati and all these things, there's a lot of truth or garbage out there. That's what there is. There's a lot of truth or garbage. And I'm trying to think of an example of some truth or garbage. Okay, here's an example. It's probably an old example, but the Jesuits or the Freemasons are hiding the shape of the earth. That is garbage. If you're saying that, you do not believe your Bible. Freemasons, evil men, they have nothing. 10 times. Whoa, what's this guy doing? I love it when people just yank over on the freeway, just pull over on the shoulder and just stop. That's crazy. It's garbage. It is garbage to believe, like, here's another one. And people really don't like when I talk about chemtrails. You don't struggle against flesh and blood. There's no men. Okay, there's geoengineering, and there's cloud seeding, and there's things we know about, things that are not classified even. And they've put things in the sky, mostly in the interest of experimenting. So it's not a regular basis thing. Here's another one. The fires that have happened in California, and people. Directed energy weapons. Oh man, when I look into some of these things, because at first I'm like, there's no way that's directed energy weapons. Okay, well, how do fires build or burn the houses but not the forest? Houses love to burn, guys. Trees have water in them, and they're alive, and they don't like to burn. If you have a forest fire, if you get everything hot and dry enough, it'll burn. But trees, have you ever chopped wood? Have you ever chopped wood, like cut chunks of a tree, put it on its side, take an axe and chop it? You won't split the wood until you let it sit for a couple months. It has to dry strong and does not want to burn. It does. Go take a live fire. This is not easy to start it on fire. But directed energy weapon airplanes in the military they made, I don't know how many, I think maybe only just one. It is like a program to fly these things around and they can't do what these truthers say they do. Just go to look it up. That's all I'm saying. People say, oh, chemtrails are real. They're spraying us with heavy metals. No, they're not. They've done they've put NASA's put lithium up in the upper atmosphere, and it's an experiment, or what do they call it? It's to learn about the upper atmosphere. And let me see if there's a jet around here. There happens to be one right up there. Okay, there's a trail behind it, but it's disappearing right away. That's because the air is a different kind of air than if there's another plane at a different altitude flying. It's going to have possibly a big plume behind it. Same plane, same engine. It's the air that the engine is cutting through, slicing through, or if you go outside in the winter and you breathe in the air, and when the air's in your lungs, it gets warm. And then when you blow the air out, notice that you can see water in the air. You can see whatever they call it, you can see your breath. That's because you've heated up the air, and then when you blow it back out, the water is going to manifest in that air, and it depends on how much water is in the air. Now and then people say, well, there's barium and strontium and aluminum, and sure, there should be. Have you ever? Why does an engine wear out? Why does an engine stop producing thrust, or a jet engine? Why does the thrust eventually you have to replace the turbine, fan blades, the turbine blades? Why do you have to replace those? Because they start disappearing after you use them so long. So all I'm saying is that we're not struggling against other men trying to conspire against us. There are evil men, and there are men that conspire to do evil things. But this is a battle for your soul that these last 5 years are showing us. This is not for your flesh and blood life either. That should. Okay. What Jesus said, he said, fear not, or don't fear him that can kill the body only, but fear him that can kill the body and soul, or the soul. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that was my paraphrasing of it. So reality is that we live in a world like this. There's people all over on the road right now. I'm just hopping on 94 towards Wisconsin, and there's going to be people driving with me all over the place, and these are real people, and they have real souls, and there is a battle happening in this world right now for their souls. That's why I have a Research Flat Earth sticker on my truck. That's why when I walk into Menards and I talk to someone, when I'm done talking to them, I say, hey, Earth's flat. We all believed a lie. You know why I do that, right? Because I was made to bear witness of the truth, and I have to testify. I have to give my testimony of it. And that's the gospel. The gospel is the truth. And I think it's kind of interesting how people think they know better than the Bible. Like they know the world better than the Bible. No, there's liars hiding the shape of the earth. Not in the Bible. In the Bible, it's evil spirits. It's all about evil spirits that are up in the sky. That's something that people just don't get. And the difference in like how you look at everything is so different when you have the idea that you're being deceived by other men. Having the idea that you're deceived by other men, I don't like how people drive these days. It's crazy. I guess I'm going 80 though. I better slow down. There is no battle against other men. And there are no men hiding these truths, you guys. Men that hide things, yes, men hide things, but no men are hiding what God's hiding, or what God was hiding and now has revealed. In the end, it's going to be a reality that people will die because of their beliefs, because they believe in something that is wicked and evil, and God's wrath is coming down right now. I guess I just see a lot of people in denial of the truth, or of just reality, I guess. Coronavirus is not a hoax. It's not a hoax. There is, the only worldwide hoax that's ever been carried off is the globe. And that wasn't men that carried that out. That was the evil spirits up in the firmament. Satan and his angels are in the firmament. Well, they're not now, I bet. They land rockets now, so that's just another part of denial of reality. Like that one time when I got Marty Leeds, excuse me, I got Marty Leeds to read one of my comments on his channel, and it was, I wanted to get his thoughts on Revelation 13:13 and Elon Musk landing rockets, because it's very significant, but he didn't understand what I said. Revelation 13:13 says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And Elon Musk is landing. What did Marty say? Elon Musk isn't landing rockets, so there's nothing to talk about. You don't live in reality then. Because in the Bible, there's a beast that makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men and deceives the whole world by the means of that, whatever. And yeah, he's a deceiver. But what Marty doesn't understand is that the Bible tells us for a very good reason why these things are in there. He's going to give this to John, and John was going to write it down. And who was it for? It was I'll just keep talking and see if it works. Does Marty Leeds believe I'm not trying to pick on Marty, I'm just using him for an example. Does he what that says in Revelation, that there's going to be it makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and that would be a deception that deceived the whole world? Because if you believe what that says, and you know the context of the book, and that it's for the servants of God to show them what must come to pass, you'd think that they would go, oh, well, that matches what's happening right now. Even Marty Leeds would, because he said, no, he's not landing rockets. But that's the whole point, is that the Bible says he's going to be doing a satanic miracle. It's the power of Satan in the air of the world. The prince of the power of the air. So he's able to do this impossible thing to get the world to believe something. SpaceX is probably the biggest reason today why people believe the globe. And here's another thing. I don't know why you would deny reality when, like Starlink satellites, if you go out any night, there's 300 of them up there now. So you might have to look around for a while, but you will see flying over your house strings of satellites, or whatever you want to call them, abominations, or images of abomination. That's what the Lord calls them, in his house, in his temple, which is New Jerusalem, which is coming down out of heaven from God. That's another interesting thing that Enoch said, that how did he say it? The land of his elect ones, or the city of his righteous ones, which is New Jerusalem, would be a hindrance to the kings of the earth, to their horses. It'd be a hindrance to their horses. Flat earth, guys. Flat earth is the hindrance to their horses. But most people probably won't grasp what I'm talking about at all, because they still have to stick to the ideas that they understand everything in the world and how it works. And think about things up there. Think about things up there, not down here. Down here's not where your battle is. Well, it is, but it's up there is where the actual battle is. It's spiritual. It's like it's something that people believe that makes them perish. So coronavirus, just part of that. Just part of that. How does, another example is dragon. John got a message from an angel that Jesus sent, and the angel is like, this is the testimony of Jesus. And John, you bear record to the word of God. And I'm going to show you what must come to pass for the servants of God to know. Well, I know a lot of these things. I know why. And the dragon up in heaven, I didn't say there was going to be a dragon up in heaven, did I? It was John that said that. And it was actually the testimony of Jesus that said that. And Jesus even said that when he walked down the earth. He said that he saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Well, dragon, SpaceX Dragon, re-enters Earth's atmosphere at 18,000 miles an hour. Which actually, I should talk about this, because this is something that I just kind of realized, and I have to just let it sit in my mind that this is going about dragon, because you know how the beast had 10 horns? Well, I think that those horns are dragon capsules, because SpaceX made 10 dragon capsules, the version 1. Well, that last launch, which was CRS-20, the resupply mission to the space station of Dragon, well, that goes with the Bible too, because the dragon gave the beast his power, seat, and great authority. The dragon did. It's a real thing, and it's manifested in reality. It's not a story. But that CRS-20 mission, which just launched like a week ago, and I actually live streamed it, that was the last Dragon version 1 to ever launch. So those 10 horns that John and Daniel saw, I believe that those 10 horns are done doing what they were going to do. And that if you go to Daniel 7 verse 8, he says, I was considering the horns, and behold, there came up from among them another little horn. Dragon 2. And Dragon 2 holds 7 passengers. This is all in the Bible, guys. All of it. So, like coronavirus, I don't know specifically exactly what it is, but I do know that the times we live in, people are going to start to die because of what they believe. They believe a lie. It's wickedness. And we have the testimony of Jesus telling us that, there will be fire and hail falling from the sky. That's going to be real. Like similar to the fire coming down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That was real. That's real. It seems impossible, but it's real because it's a satanic miracle. That's what it says in Revelation 13, verse. And 13 calls it great wonders. He doeth great wonders. He maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. There's only one thing that does. And people say, well, it could be like a missile from like a government. It has to go up to heaven and then come back down. Because Revelation 13, verse 11, John saw this beast coming up out of the earth, speaking like a dragon. John and Daniel did an amazing job of describing the world that they were shown. I didn't know how to do that. Like that, they just did their best. I think they did what they were supposed to do. And it's like, it seems like, why would God do it that way? Why wouldn't he just tell us that this is God telling us? He's showing us. But you have to read the word, I guess, read the Bible, read what he says in order to hear him, I think. I'm almost to my destination. So, just point out that the things that happen in Revelation and in the Bible, the end times things, they're real things. They're going to manifest with reality, like realistic ways. An example is, these birds are nuts. They're almost getting hit. The realistic world that we live in, that we all experience every day, that we have to get up and work or whatever we have to do, that's just like reality, right? Well, when coronavirus or some virus or whatever happens and people start dropping dead all over the world, that's reality too. And just like the dragon up in heaven, that's reality too. And I could go on for a long time. There's people singing a new song that the world can't learn. That's a reality too. And they have the voice of a loud thunder. That's a reality too. But it's a battle that most people don't even see. They're unaware of it, unaware that it's happening. I'm trying to think of how Jesus worded it. When the Comforter is come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. So that's what's happening right now. He's reproving all of us in this world. So let's see what it says here. I'm going to hop off here, but I just wanted to live stream. And I know when I'm driving, I don't focus very well on the topic. I kind of go all over the place. But these things are happening. So if you like, I don't know how it happens, but I have the idea. I think that if you're believing a lie when the truth is made available, that you will be considered wicked and will be removed. That's my belief. Because that's what happens in Revelation. So I'm not like trying to make a prediction that everyone's going to die if they don't believe flat earth or something. That's not what I'm saying. But it seems like it's something like that. At some point in time, people are going to be going through like serious, I got it back, tribulation. which I don't think we are right now. I mean, I think we're probably what they call, or what Jesus said, immediately after the tribulation of those days, or something like that. I think we're getting to that point where we're going to be. I can check the comments. Where we're going to be done, or after that tribulation, because I believe that's happening right now. Is that tribulation or whatever? There's so many different ways that the Bible describes it. I have a box here that I need to get rid of. What is this? Restart? No way. Hey, Allison, John Smith, Deborah Tess, Roderick. Good to see you guys. Yeah, my chat's not. Maybe it is now. I got it to work. Cindy Heeman. Yeah, isn't that? I think you understand what I'm saying, Cindy. Like, you see people perishing around you, and by the way I see that is when, like, I have a video where I was talking about a conversation I had with my dad, and I think the video wasn't too long ago, like maybe a month and a half ago, and I said, I called it something like believing Satan even after you're warned, or something like that. Like this, how long do we get to even do this? How long do we get to tell people the truth? I don't know. It could be not much longer. I don't know. I really don't know. Waking up. Good to see you. I want to comment on what you said. He's waking up says everybody thinks they're going to get raptured out before hard time hit. They're wrong. And I would have to agree with you. But it's because people don't understand what the difference between the physical material realm here that we're in, and the heavens. The spiritual realm is real. The spiritual realm is real. So like when, oh man, these comments keep going wacky. Okay, the rapture, and I should do a video on this word, harpazo, or whatever the word is that's used there. And then there's also in Revelation 11, there's the witnesses that are giving their testimony, and then heaven opens up and they hear, "Come up hither," and they were taken up to heaven in a cloud. Somebody explain to me what that's talking about. That's talking about the two witnesses. Yeah, but the two witnesses are giving their testimony. They're prophesying to people in the world. So there's people in the world that are witnesses. And you can go look at Isaiah 42 and 43 and clearly see that God's sons and daughters are called at the time of the end. They're called to be witnesses in the world. And that's what's happening right now. There's a group of people that bear witness to something that nobody ever was talking about. And it's a truth that seems weird, or seems strange, or seems off, or seems wrong, but it's the truth. And if you a lot of people can't even consider it. They're like, no way, not, nope, it's a globe, and that's that's the end of it for them. And those people, they're not receiving the love of the truth so that they might be saved. They're going to perish because they're choosing death instead of the truth. That's because it's the end of the world. But that word, being raptured or whatever, okay, I believe, like, I don't know all the details, but I believe that in that time, if we're there, great, but I'm just talking about it like as if it's coming in the future. But in that time, those witnesses are going to be on the earth, but they're in heaven too at the same time. And I don't understand that, but John saw them up on Mount Zion with the Lamb, while the two witnesses were, standing before God. That's another part of it. Let's see here. I'm checking more comments. Cindy Heeman says the world is a globe. Waking Up says, what if the virus is in the toilet paper? Yeah, there you go. Or in the mask. They're doing a recall on all the masks. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Mike Hawk, good to see you. But your breath cloud doesn't linger in the air for 8 hours. Well, it depends on what other air is around it. If you heat up the air and you get a contrail or whatever they want to call it, and a cloud, and you know how they've spread out. We've all seen it. They spread out, and all of a sudden the sky is gray by lunchtime. It's like, that ain't right. Like today, it's different air. There's jets flying all over. I'm actually really close to Minneapolis, Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. And so when I'm working here, I'll see 1,000 jets today. They're flying all over the place because they're coming in and coming out, coming in. I'll see them all over, and the sky's blue, not a trail. I mean, the one jet I was looking up at. Where do we got more? Of course, when I look now, I don't see any. But the trail was really short behind it. But then there's other days that look just like this day, where every jet is leaving a trail that stays. Now, I can tell you, like, you got to consider this with some common sense. Is every airline with passengers in it spraying too? Spraying heavy metals and chemtrails? No, that's just what airplanes do. That's what it drives me nuts. Calls behind the sun. Good to see you. But yeah, Mike Hawk, I totally get your point. And that, yes, it can stay for 8 hours because it's exhaust is what it is. It's exhaust from, so you have fuel and you have combustion chamber, you have air coming in, being compressed big time, and then hits the combustion chamber, and then it's compressed again to give it thrust. And it comes out of a little hole in the back, and it's taken out of a big, huge hole in the front. So the air is moving very fast, very hot, and it's exhaust. It's got burnt fuel residues or whatever in it. So just like you don't want to start your car in your garage with the door closed, same thing for airplanes. It's an exhaust from combusting or from igniting fuel. So it's not just water vapor. It's more than that. But what I'm saying is all these jets flying over, they all have passengers in them. Well, maybe not now with the coronavirus. They're all empty probably. But they're not. Okay, let me make a comparison. And I'm not trying to rip on anybody. But when people actually can find themselves thinking that airplanes don't have fuel, or they don't run on fuel, I couldn't disagree more. Airplanes or jet engines need fuel. You can't run a jet engine without fuel. And in order to create that kind of thrust, you need a jet engine. You can't just get on an airplane and pretend or something. It just doesn't work that way. But so if you have a jet engine, but you got no fuel, it's running on compressed air or something, but then there's chemtrails too. And like, I guess what I'm saying is you have a lot of truth or garbage out there. I'm going to just call it that for now, truth or garbage. There is no there's no military jets flying around starting fires. I mean, I'm sure there's been certain things. What I'm saying is it's not a conspiracy to burn down a bunch of people's houses and burn down neighborhoods and things. The government's not doing that. It's truth or garbage. When houses burn, first of all, the way we build houses now, they're like a you don't want to have a fire in your house because it will burn up like crazy. I don't care what kind of fire, whatever, drywall, fire resistant, it all burns when you get it hot enough. I watched my cabinet shop burn down in about 4 hours. Me and my dad. And I'll tell you what, when you start a fire and it gets going, you cannot put it out. Men there was fire trucks all up and down the road. There was something like 20 fire trucks there all at once. And I'm talking the big, like, what do they call it? Tankers. They had so much water. They had a pool, like I don't know what they call it, but a pool that trucks were rolling by, filling with water, and then they just kept rolling by. So they were filling this pool and they were pumping that, and they couldn't even get close to putting the fire out. And that building was gone like that. Think about what's in a cabinet shop. The heat that fire creates, it melted, or it ruined the concrete in areas. It was so hot. Like the concrete chipped up, and so you wouldn't believe what it melted down. It, like anything in there in certain areas, like any kind of metals, turned to liquid. And I mean, not everything, because some things were like on the floor and didn't get too much heat, or they were in an area where they were able to keep it wet or whatever. But wow. If you start a firehood or a neighborhood on fire on a windy day, that's scary. That's why they have firefighters fighting it. They can't put it, like forest fires and fires that are spreading, and they can't put them out. They got airplanes dropping fire retardants on them, and fire is definitely, well, speaking of fire, in the book of Revelation, there's a third of the, what does it say? A third of the trees and something, and all of the grass will burn up. Imagine that. It'll all burn up. So, anyway. Let's see. I made it about 2 comments. Sorry, guys. That's a good point, Cindy. She says they have mind control over us if we do not have Jesus. And that is probably one of the best ways to say it. And they being spiritual wickedness in heaven, up above in the sky. That's what I believe. They have mind control over us if we don't have Jesus. We're going to believe a lie if we don't have Jesus, if we don't believe Jesus. Because in the end, Allison says buffer. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's working now. Okay. It says I got full, like, really good service. Deborah Tess says, hi, blessings all. Same to you, Deborah. Allison says, Satan makes manifest the Bible into the real tangible world. Yes. And actually, like, you're right. Just picture it like this too. There's no time for them. There's no time. So, like, if I wanted to tell somebody something important, how would I do it? With my mouth, right? I would say, hey, something important. And if they weren't right there, though, how would I do it? Maybe I'd get on the phone, or maybe I'd have to go there. These all are time related. Everything we do, time holds it. Time is holding everything. Like, I've been streaming for 45 minutes now. And when I speak, it takes time for me to speak. It takes time for you to comprehend it. It takes time for anything to exist. So what I'm trying to point out is the difference between those two worlds is very real. It's a difference that these angels, these spiritual wickedness in the high places, they can do so much because they're not in a realm that has time. I'm sure that they can use, there's got to be some kind of connection between time and those angels, because otherwise, how would they manifest certain things? But like here's an example. When Jesus ran into Legion, and there was that guy that was he lived in the caves, and they couldn't keep him under chains because he'd break them, and he would cut himself and cry in the caves, like he was a wild man because of the evil spirits that were in him. And when he saw Jesus, he like went to Jesus, and the spirits were in him, and they're like, "What are you gonna do? You gonna torment us before the time?" Like, they know the time, because they're not bound by time. So when they come into this world and they're in that man, and they see Jesus, they're like thinking, "Oh, he's here to get us now." And they're like, "But it's not the time yet." So they're like, "Are you coming to torment us before the time?" If you get what I'm saying. They know, I should say, that there's appointed times for things that will happen at that time. And so they were thinking Jesus was kind of breaking that and coming early to remove them or whatever. But yeah, those unclean spirits, they're all over in the world today. All over in the world today. Roderick says many birds dropped dead recently again. Wow. Oh, the chat is so difficult. I better get to work though. Let's see here. Allison, that's pretty interesting. I like that. She said, "I think the so-called rapture happens while the harvest happens." I think you're right. And I think I think the rapture could have already taken place, if I'm using that word right. I don't know. But to me, that word, when I don't have it in front of me or whatever, but I think it's HARPAZO. And when I look at that word, I get almost the idea, like, if you go to the store and you buy a refrigerator or something that you can't just carry in your hand out of the store. A lot of times you'll get a piece of paper or a receipt, and you have to go somewhere to pick up your purchase item, like with a truck or whatever. You have to go pick it up from a place, because the store doesn't keep big things like that in stock in the store. This is just an example I'm making up. When you go to get that fridge from the warehouse or whatever, you give them that ticket. They got to give you the fridge. It's yours, and you're taking it. You're I don't know what the right word is. The purchase you made is you're going to receive that purchase or whatever. Like, that's one of the ways that word kind of means to me. But there's another way too, is almost like being kidnapped, like being taken, doesn't matter if you want to or not. That word I'm saying, that harpazo word, it is redeeming, or being redeeming. Like, it seems to me like a purchase. Like, God put a lot of work into, like, I just feel bad the way the stupid children of Israel, but it changes at the end, and I think we're there. I think it's changing to a good. They're going to listen. They are listening. I think a lot of them are. A lot of them are rebellious and stubborn and think they know everything, and that's too bad, because if you listen to him, you'll know the truth. Let's see. Oops. Alwyn Bryan says, check comments after Upworld. Okay. Chemtrails and contrails are different. Maybe. Roderick, you're funny. He says, Mike may be a prank name like Ben Dover. Like Ben Dover. NASA chemtrails, you decide. I'll have to look at that link. I'm doing it right now. Ooh, should I do that? I don't know if I can. Apparently I can. Hopefully you're still seeing me. Maybe I better not do that because I already have problems with. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I will look at it later though. Thanks. Yeah, it was a quick fire. It was insane. It was so crazy. I'll put up some more footage of that the night as it was burning. I didn't get too much footage, but I got some good footage. And like, it's depressing to watch, especially for me, because me and my dad, because it was our like livelihood and everything. So like when you're watching that burn, you're going, my life is changing right now and I can't do anything about it. And you're just watching all the stuff you worked for. Bye. Can't do anything about it. And there was like 25 firefighters working it too. Couldn't put it out. There's nothing left. The city actually offered my dad to, because the firefighters have to stay there, I guess, until it's out or safe enough or whatever. And they couldn't get it out. There's so much wood in there and everything was just burning and burning. And it was like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or something. And the city guy offered, just to be nice, he offered to take his excavator over and knock the rest down so they could put it out, because the roof still burnt, like trying to stay up. And it was like 11 o'clock at night it started. And then by 7 in the morning, there was just some half walls left. That was it. And wow, was there a pile of garbage. Took like, well, the garbage all froze. It was like 18 below or something crazy. So try to fight a fire, first of all, with water in those temperatures. How do you do it? Everything freezes. So it was pretty impressive how the fire trucks all showed up and they did their thing. But like, I don't think you could put out a fire like that. You just got to let it burn. But yeah, so they came and they took it down. Spread the word says, exhaust trails are real. A collection of men sitting at a round table coming up with ways to spray heavy metals on the population is not. I would have to agree with that 100%. That's the best way I've heard it put. A collection of men sitting at a round table coming up with ways to spray heavy metals on the population. That's not real. But heavy metals falling out of the sky, coming out of the back of jets, that's probably real. But there's clear explanation to it, I guess. I would say. A jet. Okay, put it this way. I want the truthers that are believing that they're spraying heavy metals purposefully into the sky on a regular basis, like on regular planes. Those people, I want you to go outside when it's 10 below or 20 below and start your car, let it run, let it warm up, and then hit the gas in neutral, rev it up. And if you don't see a cloud, then maybe you have a point. It's just something that happens when you heat up air that's cold. You get water coming out, and it's like in the form of a gas or it's steam or whatever. Man, I think it's nice out today. What does my truck say? It says 31. That's not bad. And I'm in the sun. That's why the sun's coming in my truck. So what is that, Allison? Get a microscope or what is that? Oh, yeah, for the heavy metals or whatever. And you got to also understand that there's other like, I'm trying to think of, like, just the air we live in gets polluted with stuff all the time. So if someone's going to test, like, what do they do? How do they test a chemtrail? To know what's in it? How? You're going to fly right behind a jet and catch some of the chemtrail? Oh, no, they find it on the ground. Well, then it's not evidence for anything with the jet, because there's factories all over cutting aluminum and cutting all. what do you call that? Pollutants. Yeah. So I just think there's a lot of truth or garbage. I'm going to keep calling it that. But there's aspects of truth to what people say, but there's a lot of people that are just believing a lie because they think that other men are so powerful. They can fool everybody. No, they can't. There's no one that can, like, no one has power over you unless you give it to them. Like, well, and then I'm saying that we got all of these quarantines going on. There'll be things happening that you and I don't have a choice about. We don't get to control our lives in a certain way coming up here. But all you have to know is that it's part of. Oh, Benny's here. Benny, I better go. It's the two dogs. Benny, I'll show you guys. Benny and Brutus. Hey, Benny. He's like a puppy. Come here, buddy. Come here. This is Benny. Benny's pretty hyped up. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Benny's always got to find some food. Okay, you go down there, buddy. And then Brutus is the older one that's really puts up with so much of Benny's stuff. But I better go, guys. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you for... Hey, Robert Angel Guy, good to see you. Billy Sunday, Chuck 1984. Awesome. So, yeah, just use common sense when it comes down to things like chemtrails and things like directed energy weapons and like a lot of these things that... okay, here's another one. Monarch Mind Control. Operation Bluebeam or what? Like, people give these things way too much credit. Just ideas that men have in the world, and they try things and technologies, and they try everything, and that's just how it goes. But there's no magical. This battle is spiritual. That's what I'll say. It's a spiritual war. So thank you guys for hanging out. Oops, I'm trying to get my chat to go. All right, Billy, it's on. I'm sending the sunshine your way. Yeah, Benny's a flat earther. Actually, yeah. Benny, and who knows? But I think a lot of people are around here are flat earthers now, which I like. It's good stuff. So, and then, yeah, I mean, really everyone is, but a lot of them don't know it. All right, guys, have a good one. I got to figure out how to turn this off. Okay, right here, I guess. See ya. Have a great day.